Hello, welcome this morning. Welcome to Much Ado About Something. I'm Donna and we're out in the garden today. I want to show you what's blooming out here in the spring, to show you, give you a look around, talk to you a little bit about the garden and get some other things started today. The periwinkle's blooming. That's a ground cover that I've got right here and it looks really pretty. We've got bluebells blooming, and they're all here in the garden, and they're really pretty. There's some roses. Some of the knockout roses are popping out. Plenty of buds out here all over the climbing rose bushes. Got some dianthus out here. We've got the grandbabies playing in the garden today. They're playing in the fairy garden. And look at these snow crocus. They look beautiful, spilled out right here all through the garden. A lot of echinacea coming up. It is a beautiful spring day. The sun is shining. Feels really good out here. I am pleased with all the growth. The irises are gone. They're finished blooming. Everything is looking really good out here. I have still yet to start the seeds. I want to do that probably today, probably this afternoon. I've got a few things out here that I've got to neaten up. This is out in the front. This is the little potting station here out in the front. Oh, we got a little bee trapped in here. We're gonna let him out. We'll turn that up. I have to turn things over so they won't collect water. He got out. That's a good thing. But I have saved a lot of pots and things here that I'll be using to replant over here in this area, and then I've got some out in the back. I like the way it looks lush right here. Now, we don't have a maple tree that has seeds, but the neighbors do. And when you live as close as we do, this is what you get. You get some unwanted things in your garden. But I love the way this lush is looking so lush right now because of the spring. It's beautiful. And I'm excited about getting a lot of stuff started and getting a lot of things going in the garden. Truly, truly excited about it today. Well, if you've been around here and you've watched my gardening videos, then you know that I have a wild edge to me. I'm in the city on between 1/4 and 1/3 of an acre. We grow as much as we possibly can here. We grow ornamentals, flowers, herbs, vegetable gardens, many things that we enjoy harvesting and using over the course of our year here on our little gardens. But I do have a wild edge. I'm not concerned that everything's neat and trim, and I'm not concerned that everything's contained and exactly the way it should be and trimmed down every year. I love to let things grow, and I love for life to live in them. I've noticed this morning as I've been out here looking at these gardens that there's an extreme amount of bees out here around everything. Already we've got a lot of pollinators, and that's a wonderful thing. I welcome pollinators and some insects. Now, I don't like insects just eating my garden up, and I don't have anything to show for my labor, but I do allow a certain amount of insects, and this is an organic garden. We garden organically around here, and I try to keep as much wildlife possible and still keep it in a kind of neat and contained look. Not completely wild and crazy, because, you know, you couldn't have that in a city. There's ordinances on how high your grass can get and what you can do. You can only do so much when you're in a city, or our city anyway. There's ordinance. We are not part of an HOA, thank God for that. We're in a development without an HOA. Been here quite a while, and really it was just bare bones when we moved here. I have shared a photo in the past that when we moved here, we just had red clay soil, and we had one tree. When we bought the house, they put one tree out here in the center, what we call the center garden. We've since had that tree chopped down. It got really big, and it became a hazard to fall on our house. So it was a maple tree. We had that cut down, and so now we just have the trees that we've added around the exterior of our property. We've got, like, these are Leland cypress that we've got here at the end of the driveway. And of course we planted these for some element of shade and privacy. This is what we call the center garden. That's where the big tree used to be. And right here, we've just got a little bit of a dead space this year. We had a tree that was here. It was I want to say an aspen tree. Donald, that got a disease, and he had to cut that down years and years ago. And I did have bulbs planted in this garden bed right here, but I have since just gave this bed a rest, so it'll be just like a little resting spot so that everything's just not chocked full. I don't know if I'll put anything out here. The last thing I planted in this little bed was amaranth, and it was beautiful. It was the Love Lies Bleeding, and it had the long strands of amaranth. And this is an excellent space for the amaranth. It was in full sun. We are in a neighborhood, so you will probably hear neighborhood noises today. There are a lot of motorcycles out, and it seems like there's a lot of just people riding around because it's such a beautiful day. But this is what we call the center garden. We've collected river rocks from family's property. We have bought rocks to go out here. And so we have a stone border around our flower beds. That's something that we think is beautiful. We miss from the mountains, and it's our way of bringing a little piece of the mountains back to our house with us. This is the Lacey elderberry that I planted for the beautiful color of the leaves, the foliage. I really enjoy that. We transferred these lamb's ear from a section that we had up closer. There's a lot of echinacea, some sage come back, more echinacea, a rosemary. We planted the tea trees there in front of the gate behind the bird bath, and I'm standing here in the front yard looking at it. There's an absolutely beautiful breeze out here today. It's a pretty day. It feels really good. Now, we had neglected this side bed here a lot. We had not done very much to it in the past few years, but Donald did get out here and spread mulch in this bed. You can see the bees. There's a lot of bees out here today. This is also a stone border. You can see my shadow. It's hard for me to get in a good place for the camera and show you what I want to show you because I'm so limited to where I can step and where I can move. This is yucca cane. We've always had yucca cane in our garden. These are rocks that we've collected from different places out here. It ties in with the rock bed border that we've got around the other flower beds. There are still some pieces of wood and some sticks and things that have to be cleared out right here. We'll take the wood in the back and use it to burn in the little fire pit for the kids when we toast marshmallows or roast hot dogs. And then of course we've got this. This is a crepe myrtle that I've potted up from the parent one that I've got out here at the side of the street. And this is my little potting area. This is my potting shed. There's no shed here yet, but this is the potting area where I repot plants and do the things that I need to do during the season when I can get out here and do it. Now I've got stepping stones here, and these stepping stones, they go right here to the garden area. I've got some stones out here. The grandbabies were playing with these earlier. I've got to put these back in a container so I can get to my table and I can do some repotting. But you've got the stepping stones that's going this way. I reuse cardboard. I lay it down. And I'll be putting more stepping stones this way. This is an old rug, a wool rug that I'm recycling. And right here is where our potting shed is eventually going to be, on this side of the house. Now I've got a few things over here that you don't often see. This is a hydrangea. It's beautiful. I may have to put that in a different area. It's been over here for quite a while. It's actually a root from my daughter-in-law's sister from their parents' house. They wanted to start it, and I'll have to divide that and let them know that that thing has grown and is ready. We've just got some trees that we planted here so that, you know, it would cover some of the things that we have in the back. But one day this will be a potting shed here. I'm not sure if we're going to build that ourselves, if we're going to buy that already prefabbed. I'm not sure what we've decided to do concerning this potting shed. But I've already made a path to it. And I've already got, there are some rocks down here hidden. There are a rock border that's covered up by this ivy. I'll be taking all these rocks out. And I have put this, these stepping stones, I need a few more in places to make the path to our new potting shed, our future potting shed. Look at that beautiful snowball bush. That will bust out here before long. It'll be white and it'll be really pretty. We actually have an azalea over here, and this is the first time this azalea has bloomed in a long time. And it sure is pretty against the dark blue of the house. That's a beautiful azalea. You can see there's bees all around it. We've got a lot of pollinators out today. Now, I've often talked about how gardening can cost as little or as much as you want to put in it. We've saved some containers over the last fall and winter, and we're going to make seed starting pots out of these recycled containers. He's drilling some holes there in the bottom for drainage. I've got to get out here and clean up all of these pots, clean up the winter mess. This is a little weeping cherry that's in this pot right here. Sometimes I pass those things on to my friends if I don't have room to grow them. These are some angel trumpets that I cut from the plants last year, and I've kept them rooted all year. So they'll be ready to go in a garden or in a beautiful pot somewhere on the property. Of course, we've got everything around here. All of the plants that's coming back. All of the beautiful things here in the flower beds. I get so excited about everything popping out and getting ready to bloom. I'll share with y'all when all of these things open up. This is the clematis. I've got a southern Appalachian accent, so there'll always be clematis to me. And this is the front garden going this way. What are we having to do?
We're gonna go in the backyard.
We're gonna move the fairy garden in the backyard?
Yeah. fairy bridge.
What's been special about this fairy garden that you come out and found?
The special stuff about this fairy garden is that me and my brother, we love making stuff, and we love seeing the stuff that we make, and we want to keep it there so we remember the thoughts we had made
Okay.
of it.
Wow, that's a whole bucket full of fairy garden when you break it down, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a little too busy out front, so we're going to go in the backyard, and I am going to start the seeds in the backyard today. I want to remind you as you get out in the garden to be sure and put your sunscreen on. It's one of the most important things you can do to cover your skin. Put it everywhere you're going to be exposed. Wear a wide brimmed hat if you're going to be in full sun or where the sun's shining directly on you. That's just a suggestion that I have to you. Better start doing that now than regret it later. I don't know if you saw in the news where Christy Brinkley had a skin cancer removed off the top of her head. Christy Brinkley is a beautiful model. She's 70 years old and still very beautiful. But she said that she wished that she had used her sunscreen more when she was outside. We can't go back in time, but we can certainly start now and start using our sunscreen as much as we possibly can. If you've watched my channel, you know I wear sunscreen. That's one of the first things I do before I go out in the morning, and it's very important to me. I thought I'd encourage you to do it as well. Now, I've shared with you over and over how gardening can cost as much or as little as you want it to. Now, I've got a little clip right here that I'll show after this where Donald put the holes in all of these cups for me. These are recycled cups that we saved from our groceries over the course of the few months, and now they have these little drainage holes in them. I'm going to put them in these cardboard boxes. You saw me use these cardboard boxes or cardboard boxes like this often. I save these from groceries that I get, or I also save them from Sam's Club. I'll pick up a few like this. They make excellent litter boxes for your animal shelter, and they also make excellent drying pads for herbs. You can see I've got a few right here. I've got my rack stacked up here. These are dandelion roots. A rack stacked up here and more dandelion roots up under here, and I use these cardboard boxes to lay them out on. Cardboard boxes, free in this case. Inexpensive material that holds many forms of uses for you in the garden. If you can start the garden in your whole process of what to dry, what to use. Today I'm going to use this one as a tray. A tray to hold these little pots, because I'm going to put a seed starting mix in here, and I'm going to start my seeds in these. I'm going to give these one-time use containers another purpose in life. I'm going to lay them out here in this tray, and I'm going to fill them with my seed starting medium, and we're going to use these to start some seeds today. Now, here's my little potting table that Donald made me a few years back, and it's not overly fancy. It's just a little screened table that he made for me to do my repotting on. Here are plastic containers that I have saved from a few years. I've got a few years use out of all of these. I've really saved them for a long time. You can see there's some leaves and things on here. These were single-use trays. This is wire that I sometimes put over things to keep other things, birds and such. They like to pick my seedlings out right here. Now, this is kind of a shady area. It's a shady spot. I've got quite a bit of recycled pots here that I'll be using again to get the most use out of them, because they'll be perfectly good for what I'll need to use them for. Now to clean these trays out, I'm just going to put them in the compost bin. Put all these leaves and stuff that was in here, I'll just put it in the compost bin and recycle that. Now I ideally would like to put all this stuff up in a building. Oh, we got a cicada skin. But I would like to, but this is what I have, so I'm using what I have. I'm just going to clear these little things off the top of these pots, and I'll be reusing all of these pots to start my seeds in. And I'll use these as long as I can until they're just of no use anymore. And then I'll purchase or reuse more of different kinds. I'm not going to go out and buy something when I can use these perfectly okay. I'm not going to add to the landfill with these when I can go ahead and get another year or two use out of these, because I try to use everything as much as I possibly can. Now most of this is just stuff that I saved from the garbage can to recycle, reuse right here in my little greenhouse. Now this little greenhouse has stayed out here on the back of the deck this whole winter. It's been back here. There's just a few things sitting in here that I use. It's full of odds and ends for gardening and for starting plants, but I've got two good shelves right here and one over here. This one will probably get the most sun over here. And these shelves, this will be fine to put in some of the seeds that I start today. Now these were some little seed starting pots that I think I got in a gift bag one year. So I'm going to go ahead and use these. I've soaked them. And I'm going to go ahead and take the tag off and use these up this year. I've got some styrofoam cups, which I used to always start my seeds in the styrofoam cups. I don't buy these anymore, but I'm going to use up what I have. Now I've brought my seeds out here, and we'll be going through these and planting some of these delicious fruits and vegetables of seeds that and even some flowers that I've collected. We'll be getting these into our seed pods today and finally getting the seeds started. This will actually take me quite a few days to get all the seeds started, but I'm getting a start with it today. Now there's one thing that you've got to make sure you can get started, and that's a way to label your seeds so that you'll know what they are, because you don't want to start a bunch of seeds and then have no idea what you've got. And seedlings can look very different when they're first starting out than the plant. So you'll want to make sure you got a way to label your seeds. My little rooster is going to crow. He's going to crow all day as long as we're out here. Now I've got this bleach bottle. This is just a little thing of bleach from the Dollar Tree. And I saved the bottle after I used the cleaner. I've showed how to make these plant markers in my videos many times. There are little lines right here on these containers that you buy bleach in. Just put an X-Acto knife and kind of go around on that line as much as you possibly can. Be careful. You don't want to cut yourself. This will cut off the bottom of your Clorox bottle, and that'll make a little tray that you can set a plant on, and it'll collect the water. You can do it to the top part. Just try to follow along. Be careful with that X-Acto knife, because if the thing slips, it can cut your finger. It can cut your thumb. That can really make a mess. Alright, now this is the part you're after. This would make a good funnel, should you need a funnel. That would be an excellent recycled funnel. Now just take what you've got left here, the middle part, which is the important part. And that'll give you a plastic looking sleeve like this, which you will then cut into pieces. And you will take the end and make it into a point. And you'll have a plant marker. Now I'm just going to take a few minutes and make a few plant markers before I get started. You can make these as thick or as thin as you need them. If you want to put more information on them, you make them a little thicker. And if you want to just make as many as you can out of your Clorox bottle, then you just go ahead and cut them as small or as large as you need them. I cut them anywhere from a 1/2 inch to a whole inch. I go ahead and just cut them all into strips, and then I'll put the little point on them as needed as I use them. Now here's another idea for your plant markers. I've used this many times. I've probably even shared it with you before, and that's for these blinds, these what we call mini blinds. Just cut them off of the whole group and just kind of cut them in the same length that you think that you'll need them, and angle them on the bottom just like you did the Clorox bottle. In fact, I think the Clorox bottle had more stability than this blind actually does. But then it makes, this one's a little bit dirty, you might have to wipe it off, but it makes a great plant marker. These are great ideas to just recycle things that you've already got on hand and make great plant markers out of them. You don't have to buy any more plastic. You can reuse some plastic that you've already got there in your house. Give it another use. Keep it out of the landfill for just a little bit longer. And no longer than these seeds are going to be in here. It's not going to have that big of an impact on your plants. The thing about using all natural wood, I've tried to use all natural spoons. I've used popsicle sticks and different things. And the thing about using those is that they just, by the time you're needing them, the words have faded off of them. They've molded so bad. And it's just really hard to find a good marker. But not if you recycle and make some out of something that you already have. These make great markers for your seeds, for plants, for anything that you want to stick in the soil and remember the name of it. I've got a Burpee seed starting mix. This, of course, came from Walmart last year. I bought this bag, did not use all of it, and so I have some to use this year. In fact, this wasn't even opened. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it this year, and this will be what I'll use in my containers to get my seeds started. Now the wonderful thing about starting your own seeds is you get to start them your own way. And whatever fits your budget, I'm going to go ahead and use these little things that I got in the gift basket. Maybe it was last year. I'm going to go ahead and take these apart and get them in this tray and get some soil started, get some seeds started in them. I'm gonna go ahead and use these up because I don't think these will be around. You know, I've already got them wet, and I don't, you know, they won't last as long as the plastic containers. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these up. I've got 2 containers of them to get spread out here. I'm pretty sure these look like they came from the Dollar Tree. I have long since stopped shopping at the Dollar Tree, so I'm not sure what they have anymore. But I know they used to have these little pots at the Dollar Tree, which I'm pretty sure will cost you $1.25 to $1.75 now. It's such an exciting thing to start the seeds. I just love to get the seeds started, to anticipate what we're going to grow this year. You're never going to grow anything if you don't make the effort to get the seeds started, or at least buy some already started plants. So in order to have a garden, you've got to go ahead and get something started. Now that I've got these took apart, I'm going to go ahead and use these first. We'll go ahead and fill this tray up, finish it out with some of these plastic containers. We'll go ahead and get my starting mix in here, and then we'll put some seeds in. It is quite windy out here today. Now these plastic little recycled containers, they're actually bigger than these little pots that I have here that are natural. So they can stay, the seeds can stay in these little plastic containers that are this side longer than they can the little paper containers. I've just got a little plastic kitchen scoop here. It's just going to take me just a little bit to get these these little pots filled up. You don't have to fill them to the brim because you may want to sprinkle a little bit of dirt over them after you get the seeds put in. I am going to start with these beautiful climbing nasturtiums, the Amazon Jewel with the variegated leaves. I'm excited to grow these this year, and I'm going to plant these Better Boy hybrid tomatoes. So these are the 2 that I'm going to begin with right now. Well, I'm going to go right over here. Well, go ahead and put the label that I've got in my little pots. I'm going to just go ahead and put about 5 or maybe 6 in here. This is a pretty good sized pot. And I'll just cover these up. And I'll take a nasturtium seed here. And we'll drop one in each little hole we got going.
Double. And we're doing the same.
Yeah, doing the same to the next cup. I've got a few left over here. I'm going to put them back in their bag. Maybe plant some over there in those 4 containers that I've got. I'm just going to take a little bit of soil and cover up the little seeds that I've got in here.
Can I try?
Sure. Let's use about half that much in the other one.
Okay.
We don't have to put so much in there. There you go.
Each hair more.
Yeah, we're just going to lightly cover them up. And then when we get finished planting this whole tray, we will go ahead and water these. And then I'm going to put them right over here in the greenhouse. Put them somewhere where they can stay out of the elements until they get a little bit of a good start, and then we'll get them planted. Well, that's all I'll share with you today about getting seeds planted. I'll be out here planting seeds for another hour or 2 at least, but I got to share with you how I do it, and I've got started, and that's a great thing for me today. I hope this gives you some inspiration, some information. Glad you joined me today.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video.
Yeah. Well, we've got the apple tree blooming. That's pretty. And there's butterflies. There's a monarch butterfly out there on the apple tree. I don't know if you can see it from here. It's flying around, but it's really pretty. We've got to start out here today, and that's what counts. Thank you for joining me today. And like always, until next time.